Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. The last 2 weeks, we spoke about some of the interesting events of the Frierdiker Rebbe, about the Histalkus. We spoke about Chicago, that when he was in Chicago, about the manuscripts that he was holding always. We spoke about what Harav Avram Sender Nemtsov wrote to the Frierdiker Rebbe. He should accept the Nesias. And I think it would be a good idea before this program to listen to the other 2 programs. But today I want to speak today about and read to you about the Oyel. So many Yidden are familiar of the Rebbe's Oyel. People come there, people ask for brachas, and I want to share with you the beginning. How did the Oyel start? So I want to read over here a letter that was written by Harav Shmuel Leviten, Harav Eli Simpson, Harav Moshe Devber Rivkin, Harav Nissen Talushkin, Harav Meir Ashkenazi, Harav Yerachmiel Binyaminson, Harav Yisrael Jacobson, Harav Shlomo Aaron Kazanovsky, and Harav Moshe Leib Rothstein. This was written, and I'm sure some people probably saw it, on Hey Menachemov, that's the Hilula Yortzeit of the Arizal. And they wrote this letter. This letter is written in Hebrew. It says here, Kvar Yigi Azman, Lamalis Choyvesenu, Mishalis Levov, Kol Yededu Maritzei, Hoit Kvekdushas Hakam, Vuhu Livnois Oyel, Al Tzion Kever of Kvekdush Admur Hakam, Asher Yuchlu Lispalil Shom, Ulevakesh, Bakashaseyem Im Ba'atzman Bebiksav, Oyadeh Shaliach. Meaning, that it came the time now to build an oil. So they started to build the oil at the Tzion Kever of the Frierdiker Rebbe. This was Hey Menachemov, 6-7 months after Shvat. And then they write over here that the Nekuntas Ishtadchus, this is written by the Tzemach Tzedek, Mevur Baruch, that it's a mitzvah to build a noyel at the kever of a tzaddik, and the resting place of tzaddikim is a mokem, is a holy place and a pure place. B'dugmas ma'oras habachpelo, like the ma'oras habachpelo in Hebron, where our Oveis Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are buried, and therefore the tefillah miskabelas, the tefillah is accepted there more. And it can go up Lamailo much faster, and it can be poil the bakosher, the request that it should be drawn down Lamato in Gashmias. And not only the people that knew the tzaddik when the tzaddik was in this world, but also the people that didn't know him, but they believed in the tzaddik. They have a connection to him that Asher Yamli Tzaddik Toiv Aleim Asher Yamali Hashem Yisborich Bakoshosom. That the tzaddik to intercede on our behalf, the bakosha. So this was the beginning. This was the oil. This was written then. So the oil began a half a year after the Histalkus. They didn't finish it much later, which we'll see probably soon. Excuse me. Now I want to read a letter that the committee of the Ksavis Kashrus to the Rebbe, to our Rebbe, what they gave to the newspaper in 1951. This was 3 weeks before Yud Shvat Tovshin Yud Aleph. And I want to read what they wrote, what the paper wrote, that they gave the paper to write. A committee of Lubavitcher Chassidim visited our newsroom yesterday to report the news that the Chabad Congregation of America and the world has appointed Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, son-in-law of the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal, as successor to the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the capacity of Nossi and leader of Chabad, continuing the chain of the Chabad dynasty dating back to the Rebbe Reb Shneir Zalman of Ladi, the Baal HaTanya and Shulchan Aruch. The committee included, who was the committee? Harav Meir Ashkenazi. He was the former chief rabbi of Shalchai and now in New York. Harav Shloime Arin Kazanovsky, the rabbi of Bnei Yitzchak Shul of Mapletown Park and Tiferes Yisrael of Bensonhurst. And Harav Shneir Zalman Gorari, the son-in-law of the Kapitchitzer Rebbe. These three people took care of the Shtar his Kashrus, the declaration of devoted connection. This is the committee. Now, we mentioned there the Kapitchitzer Rebbe, so it reminds me of something. As a Maimar Musgar, that there was a Maisa, and I think the Rebbe mentioned the Maisa, but he didn't say names. But that's what I heard, that the Kapitchitzer Rebbe was once sitting with the Frierdiker Rebbe also, and there was a Chassid and there was a Misnagid there. And the Misnagid said that the Frierdiker Rebbe is Moshiach. And I'm sorry, the Chassid said that the Frierdiker Rebbe is Mashiach. So the Misnagid got very upset and he objected. He said, how can you speak like this? You're not allowed to say that. So the Kapitchitzer Rebbe, he was a holy man, he was very a klugerid. So he said to the Misnagid, he said, sit down, relax. Are you Mashiach? He says, me, chas v'sholom, I'm not, of course not, I'm not Mashiach. For sure not. So you know you're not Mashiach. That we all know. I know I'm not Mashiach. What do you care if he's Mashiach? This is the Kapitchitzer Rebbe. I remember the Kapitchitzer Rebbe, I saw him once on a chasana by Reb Nochem Sternberg. Reb Nochem Sternberg's wife is the Einikel of the Kapitchitzer Rebbe. I was at that chasana. I was a bocher then, and I remember at Shabbos after, maybe 2 Shabbos after, the Rebbe spoke then about the Isur of drinking mashke, especially before 40. And the Rebbe said then at Dover Mose, and I think he mentioned that if you drink mashke, you can go to Ta'alucha. Ta'alucha means that you used to go Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot to be Mesameach Eden, and this is the Rebbe's thing. And if you drink mashke, you shouldn't go, something like that. I mean, the Rebbe was very upset. This was after the chasana of and that's what I saw the Kapitchitzer Rebbe. In any case, by the way, we're speaking about mashke. I don't know. I know that everything that we do and everything that we see the Rebbe does is we so meduyik. And we're careful, the Rebbe did this anoge, and we should do like the Rebbe does. And when it comes to mashke, when the Rebbe was very strong against mashke, a lot of people I see are drinking mashke under 40, and they're not listening. I don't know why this didn't develop. I don't know what happened. But anyways, this is what as a Maimon Muskir, I want to mention that. Now, the committee, which represented all Chabad Hasidim of the land, reported that the last Tuesday evening, the 24th of Teves, the Yotzar of the Rebbe Reb Shneir Zalman of Ladi, the founder of Chabad Hasidim, wrote a ksav, his kashrus, declaration on devoted connection, signed by the Chassidim, was presented to the new Rebbe, Chavdal Teves, 3 weeks before the Shvat. The official inauguration day will take place on the first yahrzeit of the Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchok, on Wednesday, the 10th of Shvat. Lubavitcher Hasidim of the US and Canada will gather on Yud Shvat, joining the delegations of Hasidim from the Holy Land, England, and France, and other places. A gathering of Chabad Hasidim took place in Eretz Yisrael a number of months back, at which time they accepted the leadership of the new Rebbe and composed a Ksavis Kashrus, declaration of devoted connection, which was sent to New York. The newly inaugurated Rebbe comes from the Chabad dynasty of Rebbes and is considered one of the great leaders of our time, known of his outstanding scholarship in both Chassidus and in Kabbalah. So this was the letter that was sent to the newspaper. I think it was the Morgen Journal. Now I want to read the inauguration. This is the Rebbe verbringt Yud Aleph Shvat. This was the Yud Shvat, and this was written up. I think it was written. It says the committee, but I think Rabbi Mindel wrote this in English. And I will read this. Was written after the Farbrengen. Before we read the letter, I just want to mention I have over here a camera and a video camera that Rabbi Mindel took of the first Farbrengen Yud Shvat, the first year. Now, those years in the 50s and in the 60s, the Rebbe did not want people to take pictures of him. And as a matter of fact, there's some that the Rebbe even said to take away the cameras. But Rabbi Mindel was standing in the back at that Farbrengen, and the Rebbe didn't mind him taking pictures. So here I want to show you, this is the camera, this is the video camera of that Farbrengen of Yud Shvat. Now I'm going to read now the letter that was written by the inauguration. The inauguration of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, to succeed his father-in-law, the late Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Joseph I. Schneerson, took place at a solemn and impressive assembly on Wednesday, January 17th, 1951, the 10th of Shvat, the first yahrzeit of the deceased Lubavitcher Rebbe. The occasion was attended by hundreds of rabbinical and lay delegates from all parts of the state and Canada and from overseas, who came to 770 Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn, New York, the world headquarters of the Lubavitcher movement, for the historic event. Numerous telegrams, cables, and letters were received from Rabbonim and leaders in all parts of the world and from followers and well-wishers everywhere. Earlier in the day, a moving memorial service took place at the holy resting place of the deceased Lubavitcher Rebbe, where an ohel is in the course of construction. So as we read before, apparently they still didn't finish making the ohel the first year. In his address and Torah discourse, which lasted for 3 hours and which frequently moved the audience to tears, the newly acclaimed Lubavitcher Rebbe eulogized the self-sacrificing and inspiring leadership of his saintly father-in-law, his great predecessor. He stressed that Lubavitch was dedicated to our entire people and manifested itself everywhere in action and deeds and far-reaching accomplishments. Always impartial and above party politics. The Lubavitcher movement was dedicated to the strengthening of traditional Judaism, the dissemination of learning, the building of kosher education, and the improvement of the material, and spiritual welfare of our people. The three loves, love of God, love of Torah, love of Israel, from the cornerstone of the ramified the worldwide activities which are carried out with determination, fearlessness, and self-sacrifices. World Jury declared the Lubavitcher Rebbe gratefully recognized the dynamic and creative forces of Lubavitch movement, which enjoys universal confidence and influences. Stressing the grave responsibility resting upon every Jew, irrespective of affiliation, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson pointed out that Lubavitch movement offers an opportunity for all to share in its service to our people. The inauguration culminated in a brilliant Hasidic mimer by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, followed by the traditional Hasidic hymn of the founder of the Lubavitcher dynasty, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Ladi, of whom the present Lubavitcher Rebbe is the seventh generation. And before the mimer, Rabbi from Sender got up before the Rebbe said the mimer, and he said Shechiyonu v'kimonu v'igiyonu, and the Rebbe should say a mimer. The Rebbe told him to sit down, and that's what the Rebbe started to say the mimer Basiligani. Now, I wanted to say a story. We're speaking about the first Farbrengen, so I want to say a story in the 60s about a Farbrengen, about the middle of Farbrengen, a story. In 1962, came, I think 62 or maybe 63, there's a chassid from Eretz Yisrael, Reb Shoyel Brook, Olav Sholom. He was an alta chassid. He was a chassid of the Rebbe Rashab. He was a chassid of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he came here to the Rebbe. Now, you know that every Rebbe has their minhagim. They're all the same Indian, Rebbe Chabad. But every Rebbe has a different way of farbringing. The Rebbe Rashab used to farbring by a table, people sat around. But the Rebbe's farbringing was completely a different. He used to sing as a niggin, and the Rebbe said a sicha, sing a niggin, the Rebbe said a sicha. So he was sitting in the back of the Rebbe's of Chastere, and he said to himself, he says, this is not the way I'm used to a farbringen. I'm used to the way the Rebbe Rashab farbringed, the Frierdiker Rebbe, I think. But this is not, I want to walk out. So but he can't walk out. The Rebbe is talking, the Rebbe spoke about an hour. He couldn't walk out. So he was waiting until the Rebbe finishes, and then he'll walk out. The Rebbe finished the Sikha. The Rebbe takes his kos. As soon as he finished, takes his kos, turns around to Reb Shoyel, and he says, Reb Shoyel, in Yiddish, he says, as you felt it was Zog, you don't like what I said? So Reb Shoyel said, if he is a Yedei Machshavos, if he knows my thoughts, I have to stay. This is a Maaseh that I heard from Reb Shoyel when he farbring with us then. So, since today is my Yom Holedes, my birthday, so it's a Yom Sgula. So I want to, number one, wish all the listeners, I give a bracha. We should all have Arichas Yomim Vishonim Tevis, and it should be, we should all have Hagefen, Hatzlocha, Gizun, Parnos, Nachas. And I know that my Talmidim that I used to teach in Yeshiva Brooklyn, they now, some of them are Yeshivas in Monsey, and some of them in Lakewood. They're listening to my program. They always say they're listening, so I want to give them also a bracha. They should continue learning Nigla, and they should also learn Chassidus. And I want to give a big bracha. Now, when I say the word a big bracha, I once heard from, I think I mentioned it once, from Nash Kestenbaum. He used to be the president of the Young Israel of United States. He lived in Long Beach. So he once told me that he walked into the Rebbe and Yechidus, and he said to the Rebbe, he says, Rabbi, he said like this, he made like this, Rabbi, please give me a shtickle bracha. I don't want to, I know you're such a busy man, I don't want a whole bracha. give me a shtickle bracha. So the Rebbe smiled to him and says, I have a mishugas. When I give a bracha, I don't give a shtickle. I give a full bracha. So, since it's my Yimoledis, I'm giving everybody a big bracha, that everybody, whatever they need, the Rebbe should fulfill, and it should be v'kitzu v'rananu sheikh the offer, all the Rabbeim, b'seicham, that we should makarev, the goal of Mashiach should come, b'mheira v'yameinu, amen.